The Trump administration's decision to strike Iran is dividing lawmakers on Capitol Hill. Virginia Representative Rob Wittman, a House Armed Services Committee member, joining us to discuss. And obviously, Congressman, it's great to have you here on the National News Desk. Thank you for your time. You have been briefed by the Secretary of State, Secretary of War, other cabinet officials on this rapidly developing situation. What is your assessment thus far?
Sure. My assessment is they made significant progress in degrading Iran's ability to perpetrate harm across the region. And their focus is to take out their conventional capability, that is, their missile systems, their weapon systems, that they can engage others. The other is taking away their capacity to produce nuclear weapons. They significantly degraded that, so they are actually a little bit ahead of schedule in doing the things that are in their initial objectives to take away the ability for Iran to not only threaten its neighbors, but to also expand what has been seen in the region as an incredibly aggressive growth of their military, and again, for the purposes of destabilizing the region.
And a lot of questions about the U.S.'s involvement, obviously, and from a defense standpoint, a weaponry standpoint. Are you concerned about a prolonged conflict in the region?
Well, listen, I think the objectives of this military operation are going to be about, achieving these objectives quickly. They're ahead of schedule to be able to do that. I think the President and the Secretary of Defense and others are very focused on achieving those objectives and not having this turn into a long-range conflict. I think, too, with them, talking about what are we going to do to make sure that we have a transition to a more stable government there is also going to be key. I know that their military objectives are matching the long-term objectives for the country from a standpoint of governance. How do you make sure not only do you stabilize the country, but how do you make sure you have proper governance so this doesn't happen again?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to ask, President Trump said that he wants to be involved in picking Iran's next leader. And once there, as you take a look on your screen, is acceptable leadership in place, his words, to actually help rebuild. Your thoughts on that front, and what could that process look like for the U.S., Congressman?
Sure. Well, listen, I think it needs to be determined by the Iranian people. I mean, they've been oppressed now for 47 years under this Islamic regime there in Iran, this theocracy that's been run by clerics. I think what we see right now is you want to take out that extreme element about how the government's been run there. Listen, the Iranian people know what's going to be best for their country. I think that this needs to be organic. You need to have people that are willing to take on these leadership positions from the Iranian population there in the country, not from the clerics, not from the extremists, but from folks that are willing to take these leadership roles. And I think that provides the longest term certainty for the country and the longest term stability that the country needs in order to make sure it gets back on a firm footing and can rebuild an economy and can assure that the Iranian people are not going to be terrorized like they have been over the last 47 years.
Before I let you go, bringing it back here at home, concerns about sleeper cells in the U.S. Based on your conversations with lawmakers on Capitol Hill, are we any closer to getting DHS up and fully running?
Well, it should be running right now. Unfortunately, the most recent vote failed. I think that it's critical for this nation to properly fund DHS. Yes, there is a risk of sleeper cells. I think if you look through the years when we had the open border and the people that came across unchecked, I think the likelihood that there is an element here in the country of people that would want to do U.S. citizens harm. It's unfortunate, but I think it's a reality. I think you have to plan for that. You have to plan for the worst and make sure that you have the ability to counter that. We do not need at this point to have funding interruptions with the Department of Homeland Security. Regardless of the other issues here, listen, we can have the debates about what Homeland Security should do, but let's make sure we properly fund it. There's nothing worse than having TSA agents, our Coast Guard's men and women, our DHS personnel, all not being paid. It's unacceptable.
We'll have to leave it there. Congressman Rob Wittman, thank you for joining us tonight on the National News Desk. Appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thanks, DD.